there's more to life than relationships, and there's still more life to live after you get in a relationship.
Look what you created. Everything surrounding me, you made it.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I used to be so obsessed with romance movies and romance books and just anything romantic, giddy movies, stuff like that. I'm obsessed with all those things. Or I used to be obsessed, you know. Pride and Prejudice, The Notebook. The Notebook is actually my favorite movie. Back then, I didn't realize the effect that it would have on me, obviously, because those are my BC days, my before Christ days. But getting caught up in that expectations of the romance movies and the novels, constantly consuming that over and over again, it just kind of has an effect on you, whether you want to admit it or not. Whether you've gotten caught up in daydreaming like me, I found myself getting caught up in daydreaming. It makes your real life seem very dull. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I found myself enjoying the fantasy more than reality of my actual life. And I found myself looking forward to escaping from my life, which it sounds cool, everything, and I love books. I'm a big advocate for books, but when it comes to a point where you are literally enjoying someone else's life, made up life, more than you're enjoying yours, and you're wanting this made up relationship more than you're wanting yours, it creates these unrealistic fantasies in your head, and they start to ruin your real life relationships, and they start to just ruin what God has for you because you're expecting it to be a certain way when God has something else for you. But because you saw these movies and these romance books and it's supposed to be like this and it's supposed to be like this, you can end up like gaslighting yourself into thinking that this is what you're supposed to have when it's literally the opposite of what God wants for you. So today I just wanted to make this video about how these unrealistic fantasies are ruining our real life relationships and how we can bring our hearts back to the truth of God instead. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about romance books and romance movies, and as more specifically, like as a Christian girl. And I was thinking about making this video and I was like, what do I have to say? Because I feel like I have so much to say, and especially now that I'm in a relationship, I'm in a good godly relationship. Like I just kind of feel like I want to I don't want to say I want to spread awareness. Like that sounds like crazy, but on like a serious note, I do want to help other girls not be fall into the trap of idolizing relationships. And I know we can start off by telling my story. I know from my experience, I began to idolize relationships because of my obsession with romance books and romance novels, and I was just constantly consuming it, which made me constantly think about being in a relationship, which obviously made me idolize it. And then when I even came to Christ, I even took it with me into that, and I was looking up Christian relationships, watching what's it like being in a Christian relationship, and all these things, just carrying it with me. And that even kind of added on to my struggle with lust and masturbation and pornography and all those things, because I would read romance books, and I read any kind of romance books. That's all I'm going to say. And that's all I'm going to say. And I just really want to emphasize on the fact that romance books are not they're not God. And now being in a relationship, it has taught me that all the stuff I was reading was never love. And not only are we reading these fictional books, first of all, they're fictional books, so they're already telling us hey, this is not real. But I was just so far deep into it that I would even start to fantasize about being in a relationship and fantasize about these things. And my boyfriend, he's my first boyfriend, so like I said, I went all the way until I was freaking 23 years old without having a boyfriend. And I could truly say like the only person that freed me from this weird thing of wanting to be in a relationship and that I'll finally be happy when I'm in a relationship, I got all that because of Jesus. And I really just wanted to sit here and like not really just like, I don't know, share my story, give help, be a shoulder to cry on, someone for you. I don't know. I just really felt led to make this video and about how we shouldn't let these movies carry into our relationships and how they can ruin your relationships if you let them. Most of these movies and these books are based off of the concept of lust, and you do something for me, I do something for you, when we all know biblical love is selfless love, because that's what Jesus showed us. And when we get in a relationship and we be with a person, they show that love of Jesus, that selfless love, and you have that selfless love of Jesus, and it's really just like the best thing. I can really attest to it. It's like the best thing ever, and it was worth the wait. And I'm really glad that I didn't, have a relationship before when I got in a relationship, and that's just God's timing. And a lot of you might be saying, oh, it's just a movie, oh, it's just a book, I know it's not real life, I know. I used to say all these things too, especially when I was reading romance books. I would be like, oh, I'll skip the dirty parts. Even with movies, I'll skip the dirty parts. Like even when I was watching Bridgerton, like I almost like watching that again was just kind of like a reminder, like, hey, you don't need to be watching this, because it's so lust heavy, which is already a red flag in itself. But it's not just entertainment, especially when you're constantly consuming it. And these fantasies that we create unintentionally, they shape our expectations, and they even affect how we see what God's supposed to be doing in our life, because you see this all the time and you think that's what your life is supposed to be like. And we don't understand like the power we have in our brain, the power we have in it is like the best and the worst thing ever, because our mind really can like control you. If you don't control your mind will control you. And like I was saying, constantly consuming those books and those movies really did lead me to the I cannot say the word idolization. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm trying to say idolizing. It really did lead me to just idolizing relationships and creating unrealistic expectations, which just left me sad and unfulfilled, which is what anything from the world will do. God really did save me from that, like truly. Hold on, and let me pull out the iconic 1 Corinthians 13, which it really does hit different when you actually understand love. Which says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And God is love. That is the biggest thing that we need to carry into our relationships, and we always need to be constantly reminding ourselves. And there was a point, I would even say still the first practical thing I'm gonna say is just to completely cut yourself off from romance movies and romance novels. I had to completely just wipe everything out, because I knew where it led me. Whenever I would open that book or start watching that movie, it just led me into this fantasy world and into another like another dimension, like another life or something. And it's never good to not want to be in the life that you're in. And we all say like books are like an escape, but we should not be trying to escape from this life that God has given us, especially as Christians. God doesn't want us to constantly be trying to escape or get away or run away with something. And that's really honestly definitely how it becomes an idol, because you're saying like, this is better than the life God has given me right now. So like I said, the first practical thing I have to say is just to remind, like, what are you consuming all the time? If you're reading stuff like this all the time, watching stuff like this all the time, it's simply just stop. And I know from personal experience, it's really hard, especially when that's all you do. Like when I was bored, that's what I would do. Like, and it's hard to like find something else when you do, because you're bored. And it's just like, sometimes you really just need to find something else to do. Like, I hate to say it like that, but I needed that tough love. And you really do need to just completely cut it off. And find something else to do. And the next thing is to just practice gratitude for your real life. Like, to be grateful. And writing down 3 things you're grateful for every morning sounds so like, oh, cringe, whatever, corny. But being grateful is a hidden superpower. Like, it really is a hidden superpower. And I feel like we do not take advantage of it enough. When God's saying was be thankful in all circumstances, no matter what your life is looking like, to be thankful for it, and to be thankful for the relationships that you have. Even if you don't have relationships, you don't have friendships, be thankful that God pursued you the way he pursued you, and you have the relationship you have with God. And if you don't have any relationships or friendships, pursue that relationship, and God will give you all the things you need. And that's also a big thing. God will give you the things that you need. And another thing I did before I got in a relationship was so annoying. It's so annoying that I'm sharing this. I made like a list of things I needed in relationships and things I wanted. Because like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say you can't want these little things like, oh, whatever, like tall, cute, whatever you're into, all these things. If you want to meet cute, whatever, you can put that on the want side, but what do you need? And that's when you really need to go in the Bible and say, like, what does God tell me I need in a relationship? And really just sit down, look at that, and then pray over that. And then, like, just become content with God giving you with what you need. If you aren't satisfied with those things that God says you need, that's when you need to reevaluate your heart and just give all that up to God, because you have to give up that idol of what you want and for God to give you what you need. And I can truly say that God's reality is better than your fantasy. I hate the fact that I'm mentioning the fact that I'm in a relationship, because I don't want you guys to think I'm like bragging about being in a relationship. But one of the first things I remember, it was like this time last year, actually, like last year about Valentine's Day, I was just thinking about how on Valentine's Day I would just like watch a little movie and do this and la 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 la, and how that this is my first Valentine's Day being in a relationship last year was. And I was just like, this is so much better than any of that stuff I was reading. And it's because of God and how much God is in my relationship, and how everything that I wanted, or the plan I could have wrote for me being in a relationship, I couldn't have wrote any of it. And God is so cool, and he writes the best stories, and I could have never come up with what he came up with. So I'm really just trying to be a living, breathing testimony to you that God's reality is better than your fantasy, and that God's timing is better. God's timing is better. And another thing that really helped me, I remember my 23rd birthday. I was single on my 23rd birthday. And I remember just feeling content. I had never felt content in my life ever until my 23rd birthday. And you know why I felt content on my 23rd birthday? Is because I looked at myself and I asked myself, I looked around. I was like, if my life stayed like this, I would be okay. That things change when you are content with where God has you and what he has you right now. And it's just really it's even convicting right now just saying like, oh, are you okay with everything that if your life just stays like this, if God doesn't change anything, all these dreams you have and you want to move places, you want to do this, you want to be in a relationship, whatever it is, what if God doesn't give that to you? Are you going to be okay? And if your answer is no, it's always just kind of like a heart check. And it's just kind of like, am I idolizing whatever it is that I want? You know? And I'm telling you that nothing that you could ever want is better than what God's going to give you. Just praying for contentment. And sorry if I'm talking really fast. I feel like my camera's going to die soon. But just to end this off, I'm such a testimony, and I'm so grateful to be a testimony. And all these things I said, it takes time. Like I said, especially when you've been doing this your entire life. But I promise you, the love that the world is promising you, it's not gonna satisfy you. And anything you can create in your head, the fantasies you can create, like, it's nothing compared to what God wants to do in your life. And I'm telling you that his plan is better, his way is better, and his reality is better. And whether that's a relationship for you or not, like, forget that. Relationships are just like a step. It's not like, I'm trying to word this right. Like I used to think being in a relationship was like the end all be all. Like, that's like the peak of my life. But it's really just like the first level. Like, it's just like a level, you know. It's not like the ultimate prize, the ultimate thing. And I love my relationship, but I think we could both say, if you ask my boyfriend this, like, that this is just like the beginning of the great things that God's gonna do in my life. It's not like, oh, I have you now, I'm all good, you know, like, that's it. You know. And that's what movies really make it seem like, especially because, like, the happy ending is always, oh, you got the person, yay, happy ending. But, like, no, that's not it. That's not it, you know. That's not it. There's more to life than relationships, and there's still more life to live after you get in a relationship. And I just wanted to say that little reminder. I just wanted to say that. But I'm sorry if I was rambling, and I'm sorry if this was a lot, but I really just wanted to get this message out there that to just not let your fantasy ruin the reality God wants for you, and to just surrender that and to stop idolizing it. And God's way is better. And I appreciate you for clicking on this video. If you like it, if you love it, share it with someone. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. I'm currently so close to 1,000. It's insane. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.